These are the knights. They start with one province. They have a non-accepted culture. They have a non-accepted religion. The knights have access to a decision that allows them to reform the Kingdom of Jerusalem. This also unlocks new ideas and traditions. To unlock the Kingdom of Jerusalem, we need to conquer Gaza, Jerusalem, and Jaffa. Sounds simple enough, but there's a problem. Disgracefully, our coveted lands are currently occupied by someone called the Mamluks. Unfortunately, they are much more powerful than us. The Mamluks aren't our only problem. To the north lie the Ottomans. The Ottomans are one of the strongest factions in the game and present a considerable threat if we're to thrive. Let's go. We find ourselves in a very weak starting position. All we're going to do is delete our fortification, select the estate that allows us to recruit a Carrack heavy ship for free, and we're going to fabricate claims on the Byzantines. As regards our navy, we're going to send our ships out to raid as many coastal towns as possible to get as much money as possible. We're going to need that money for later. We declare war on the Byzantines. We swiftly attempt to win naval superiority. Having done that, it's time for an amphibious invasion. Athens promptly falls to our glorious forces. Next up, we attempt to take Moria. We promptly dispatch a Byzantine army in Greece. Having saved up enough monarch power, we're able to select the decision to give the Greek culture group an accepted culture. Unfortunately, the Ottomans, sensing weakness of the Byzantines, declares war and occupies their capital Constantinople. That's fine though, we didn't really want Constantinople anyway. We sue for peace with the Byzantines, gaining all their former Greek provinces, and it was good. We get to survey our new fledgling empire. Having spent a lot of time improving our relationship with the Austrians, we are able to seal our first alliance. That's going to help us out a lot. No longer are the Ottomans going to have a free ride against us. We're no longer alone. But it doesn't end there. Right after allying with Austria, we're able to seal an alliance with Hungary. Now we have two powerful allies to the north. Things are looking up. Fresh off forming alliance with Austria and Hungary, we declare war on Epirus. Okay, I'm going to be honest here, normally you're not actually able to execute this. It's fairly typical that the Ottomans will take out Epirus first. In our case, we got kind of lucky because the Ottomans turned their attention to Byzantines first while we were fighting them, which allowed us time to muster up a force and attack Epirus. But if it doesn't work out this way for you, that's fine. Instead, focus on taking all of the Byzantine provinces, including Constantinople. We defeat Epirus' ally, Ragusa, then we defeat Epirus itself, and fully annex them. Our empire is starting to grow nicely. Occasionally, when we're minding our own business and just enjoying ourselves, our pesky allies will call us into their wars. We can accept the call to arms, but by all means just ignore the war. Our allies exist to serve us and serve us only, and I'll be damned if I'm spending my resources and time in helping Austria or Hungary out. They can fend for themselves anyway. This is all about us, our mission to restore the Kingdom of Jerusalem. We are biding our time for our next target, and our next target is Cyprus. Cyprus is always guaranteed by the Mamluks. And yes, I know what that means. Once we declare war on Cyprus, we're at war with the Mamluks. But we're not going to be able to beat the Mamluks yet, and we're not going to even try. In the meantime, we're just building up a powerful army and a powerful navy and getting ready for the next war. You can use this time to suppress rebels and develop your provinces if you want. Alright, enough stalling, it's time for our first real war. We declare war on the Mamluks and send our fleet out to quickly wrestle naval superiority in the Eastern Mediterranean. Using our best admiral, our heavy ship, and a substantial number of galleys we've been able to build up over the previous years, we should be able to win these naval battles. We have also by this time selected a naval tradition and selected the government reform that improves the combat bonus of our ships. This should give us a decisive advantage when it comes to naval battles. After each battle, we're simply selecting our damaged ships and returning them to port to repair so that they can rejoin the fray later on. It's absolutely vital we establish naval superiority early and then set up a naval blockade of all the Mamluk ports. That's going to generate a lot of income and help us sustain this war. Another thing that's extremely important, bear in mind the diplomacy that exists between the Mamluks and the Ottomans. In this case, I know that the Mamluks and Ottomans have rivaled each other respectively. That means they will not be granting military access between themselves. If they did, the Mamluks would be able to transport their army across the Sea of Marmara and actually occupy our provinces in Greece, which would be a really bad idea. So you have to make sure that can't happen before you declare war. Naval superiority achieved. We launch an amphibious landing in Cyprus, defeat their army, and slowly siege down their province. The rest is pretty basic. We're just going to destroy the rest of their fleet, maintain our naval blockade, continue our occupation of Cyprus, and slowly wait for our war score to tick up since we occupy the war objective. Once it reaches 100%, we can sue for peace. We're not going to be able to accumulate war score in the Mamluks, at least not enough to sue for a separate peace. But that really doesn't matter. And we sue for peace and get our province Cyprus. We're going to have to core that, which is going to cost a lot, and we're going to have to convert it back to the Christian faith. Interestingly, while we were busy fighting the Mamluks, the Ottomans declared war in Venice. Now that we know this is something we can definitely capitalize on. We are about to unleash the pain train in Venice. It's time to declare war in Venice. Unfortunately, Austria doesn't want to join the war because it's too heavily indebted. That means we're only going to have Hungary to help us. On hindsight and later reflection, it was a really dumb idea to do this. Even though Venice had been badly mauled by the Ottomans, it still has a powerful land army, and just look at all those allies it's going to call in, including Switzerland and Genoa, which are no joke. This could be our downfall. Let's see what happens. Oh my god, it turns out they have a lot of troops. It also looks like their troops are pretty good quality. I'm not quite sure what to make of this. We may indeed end up really struggling in this war, which is unfortunately not part of the plan. Let's see how things go. Don't let my slick editing fool you, I still make a ton of mistakes. Here's a good example, fighting a battle whilst taking a -2 negative modifier. This is gonna hurt. Even though we follow the golden rule of only fighting wars when we have a military technology superiority, you can still see how many casualties we're suffering in these battles. The next few minutes becomes a veritable horror story. My brow becomes furrowed. There are tears streaming down my face. We are fighting desperately in Hungary, attempting to turn back the swarms of Swiss soldiers. Have we taken on more than we can chew? Are our best laid plans for naught? The knights are the last best hope for mankind. Are we destined to perish from this earth, like so many before? And then it happens. Hungary sues for a separate peace. We fought side by side as men for 15 in real-time minutes. But the bonds of fellowship have been broken. Now we are very much alone. Still reeling from having been abandoned by my close ally Hungary, I decide now is the time to panic. So I must drop 9,000 troops, as many as I can fit in my transport ships, and decide to take on the Venetians head on. I rationalise that I still have a good leader with 6 fire and 4 shock and good siege. If I can send those 9,000 troops to the Venetian capital, I can maybe siege it down quick, accumulate enough war score to end the war in favourable terms. It's looking promising. Audacious, but the plan might just work. But it requires an absolute perfection. Absolutely nothing can go wrong. I can't afford to get bad rolls. I must win the battle, and so my troops land. Unfortunately, fate would not smile on me today, because in the first month of the siege progression, something terrible happens that can only ever occur to me. My 6 fire 4 shock leader, for whom the whole weight rested on his shoulders, dies almost immediately, leaving my army in enemy territory, outnumbered and leaderless. And I don't have time to ferry my additional troops to the rescue. So we chose to peace out. In all seriousness, it didn't go that badly. We got the provinces we wanted, we got a bit of money, and we were able to escape with our main army. Probably the most important thing we got from that war was actually the war reparations. That, combined with the lump sum money we got, has put us in a really strong economic position, and if we can core our main provinces and deal with the rebels whilst converting them, that should put us into a reasonably strong position from which we can finally complete our objective, which is restoring the Kingdom of Jerusalem. Yes, I think it's time. No more side missions, no more half measures. I think it's time to take the pain to the Mamluks. On second thoughts, let's ally with Poland. Then we'll declare war on Venice once again. It's time for round 2 Venice, and this time it's personal. This time we call in both Poland and Austria. The key reason for fighting Venice again is pretty simple. We don't actually want that much territory. The Genoese islands off the coast of Anatolia will do. Mostly we're attacking Venice now because we need the money. We're going to need a huge war chest if we're going to take on the Mamluks. The Mamluks still being one of the preeminent powers in this time period. The logic goes something like this. With our Austrian and Polish allies, we should be able to defeat Venice swiftly. But Venice also has a lot of allies itself. These are small, minor factions. For the most part, we're going to allow the Austrians and the Polish to do all of the heavy fighting. We're just going to maintain a naval blockade and use our ships to secure naval superiority. If we do all that, we can peace out each of Venice's allies individually, and we'll try and get war reparations from each of them. War reparations are nice because they're not shared amongst our other allies. If we just wanted lump sum payments, then that would be shared with Austria and Poland, who are, let's face it, doing the majority of the fighting. The main goal here is to accumulate as big a war chest as possible, with which we can take on the Mamluks and have enough over in case something goes badly. We're not doing too badly for money at the moment, but let's keep it real. We only have a certain amount of provinces. We don't have much income. We're certainly a negligible trade power. And we're going to have to go well over the force limits to take on the Mamluks. Basically, think of this as a money raid. An easy victory. Oh, and it looks like the Ottomans are currently at war with the Mamluks. Perfect timing. I'm going to recruit some mercenaries, since we're going to need an army of about 25,000 if we want any hope of winning. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've been waiting for. It is time indeed. To the shriek of God is with us, a clarion call is heard. Our battle plan is pretty straightforward. We're going to land in the west, next to Benghazi, and then head east, defeating the Egyptian armies as they appear. Our main goal then is to siege the capital, whilst ensuring we have a supply link to the coast. That ensures if we're defeated while sieging the capital, we retreat to a coastal tile and we don't get cut off. If we lose our army here, it's over. In addition, while we saved up a lot of money, putting ourselves so heavily over the force limits is going to cost us a lot. We're going to have to take out a lot of loans, and accordingly, we're going to need to close this out soon. Our primary objective remains capturing the 3 provinces to allow us to form the Kingdom of Jerusalem. But in addition to that, we want to capture as many provinces as we can to expand our stranglehold over the Levant. We're coming up to our first battle against the Mamluks. And we are taking a massive -2 modifier due to attacking in a swamp and across a river. Okay, didn't know about the swamp. Maybe I should pay more attention in future, but we get away with it and we do defeat the enemy army, although we lose a lot of casualties. Now their capital province is open, if we can just clear the stragglers. And hopefully we can siege down this province pretty quickly, although it looks like they have a 3,000 man garrison, so actually it could take a while. Since we haven't secured our supply route and we're taking a lot of attrition, we're actually going to have to back off from sieging the capital from now. We need to establish some sort of a land bridge between the coast and the capital, and before we attempt to do that, we're going to have to defeat these Mamluk armies. So we're going to leave their capital, head west, and try and run down these Mamluk small stacks. And yeah, it looks like this could get quite repetitive for a while. That said, our morale is high, as the holy city of Jerusalem is just above the horizon. And we fight the Battle of Bardia. And we win the Battle of Bardia. Moving to the east, we hope to re-establish control over a Mamluk coastal tile so that we can move in the capital. And we are painfully low on money at the moment. Possibly a good time for some war taxes. And the Mamluks once again try and retake Rashid, so we're going to have to go back and fight them on another tile with a -2 negative modifier to attacking force. I'm actually a bit worried here because if we lose this battle, I don't know, army will be able to retreat, but it's going to be dicey, so hopefully we win this one. And we once again attempt to siege down the capital, and we abandon that plan and head west because they sent their army to Benghazi and they're going to try and shut off the supply routes, and we defeat that army in Benghazi. Yeah, starting to look a bit like a proverbial ring around the roses here, but we're not discouraged. We'll just keep at it. If there's one thing the Knights doesn't lack, it's faith. For Christ will guide us through adversity. And we fight another battle in Benghazi. Getting a bit of deja vu here. And we win another battle in Benghazi. Time to move on the enemy capital perhaps? Nope, some rebels have spawned. That is quite unfortunate timing. Okay, we'll just wait here and see. We'll actually let the rebels get siege progress and then we'll defeat them so we can hopefully siege down that province quickly. 42%, that is pretty nice. And we capture the Mamluk capital. And we're going to send our army west again because the Mamluks are once again trying to retake Benghazi. And we fight the Battle of Benghazi. And we win the Battle of Benghazi. The third Battle of Benghazi has been fought. Not repetitive at all. And we are in a siege race here. They have rebels sieging down our capital. That is a second group of rebels that have spawned, unfortunately. Hopefully we win this siege race. We do not win this siege race. Once again, we will attempt to siege down the capital. Hopefully we can keep it this time. Once again, we have taken the Mamluk capital. We fight and win a couple more small battles. And then, now that Ethiopia has joined the war against the Mamluks, we split our army into 3 constituent parts and simply carpet siege all of their provinces to try and bring this war to an end as soon as possible. Bearing in mind our dire financial situation. Finally, we peace out against the Mamluks and take our coveted provinces. Jerusalem is back under the faith. And after an enormous amount of time with our crappy faction leader with 0 points in monarch skill, we are finally able to core all our provinces in the Holy Land. Select the national decision to re-establish the Kingdom of Jerusalem. And so it is, in the year 1511 of game time, and after about 4 hours of gameplay, we re-establish the Kingdom of Jerusalem, our objective for this run. Of course, I could continue playing to re-establish the whole of Crusader states, securing control over all of the Levant. In fact, I may well have done that, but as you and me both know, I'm far too damn lazy to edit that additional footage. This has been Oscar Mike. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Have a great day.